Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, 6 p.m. my time here in Berlin, and I'm super excited to tell you, well, that it is the first day of Checkly's very first launch week. And let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Stefan. I'm part of Checkly's developer relations team. And what we want to do in the following 4 days is that we want to release all the features that were in the making, like for a couple of weeks, and want to release them all in the following days. So we're talking here 4 features in 4 days. And when you go to checklyhq.com, checklyhq.com/launch week, you will see that we are right now on October 11th. And today we're going to talk about new features in the space of alert notifications. We're going to talk about mobile improvements. And it might be that we do a little bit of community stuff. It's already teased there, but I'm super excited to connect with all of you later on. And if you have any questions, please make sure to drop in the chat. I try to read along and answer questions as good as possible. Yeah, I think we can kick it off. If you landed here by the YouTube feed or by clicking a link in social media, let me just give you a brief overview of what Checkly is. So Checkly is a monitoring platform from developers for developers. And we are an active monitoring platform. So if you're building things for the web, there might be, or there are probably a lot of API endpoints that are out there. And with Checkly, you can set up a monitoring system and really make sure that your API endpoints are fast enough, that they're responding with the right status codes, and that they're actually up and running. And probably your applications are not only APIs, right? Most likely you also have a front end connected to it. And if you want to take it up a notch and you want to, for example, control headless Chrome, using Playwright to make sure that your add to cart actions, your login flows, or whatever service you're providing is actually up and running. You can do this with our browser checks too. And let me tell you, I'm a front-end developer. I do this for a little bit. And it hasn't happened only once that I came to work just to notice that everything is on fire because we didn't know that something is broken. And then there's the third thing to the entire story. If you notice, or if your monitoring system notices that something is broken, you want to be the first person to know about it, right? This is where alerting comes into play. So with Checkly, you can then also define various alerting channels, let it be Slack, email, SMS, or whatever service you provide, to be then the first person to have a look at an issue if something is happening going on. And I think this is a perfect introduction to my very, very first guest. And with me is now Michelle. How are you doing, Michelle? How's life?
Life is good. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for having me. I'm a front-end developer at Checkly and happy to tell you all about our new responsive layout for check results.
Ooh, I think this is exciting because there might be a situation where, for example, you receive an alert on your phone, right? And then it becomes really, really crucial to just quickly have a look, to not kind of jump out, go to your computer to figure out. And I think this sounds very, very good. Should we have a look, Michelle?
Yeah, let's go. So as Stefan already said, like one of the awesome features of Checkly is alerting. So when the status of your check changes, you'll get a notification via SMS, like email, whatever option you chose. And yeah, just imagine you're like out and about having a drink with your colleagues, and suddenly you receive an SMS that your check has failed. Don't panic. So the SMS
Yep.
will look something like this. And it includes a direct link now to our check results page. Of course, the usual channels like email and Slack are still holding a link as well. And if you click that, you'll land on our check results page. And this is the screen as you know it right now. This is an API check that has just failed. Is a very crucial API check that retrieves 3 cat facts,
Very
as you
important.
see, very important. And yeah, we have our summary section assertions that are organized in a table. Each assertion is 1 row. And we have our request data organized in tabs and some timing down here. But let's take a look how it evolved on mobile. So the top part, yeah, cool, right? So the top part looks still quite similar, except that we have this breadcrumb now on the top. So it used to be in the navbar, but moved here, so you can conveniently navigate back to the check itself. then this assertion section changed quite a bit. So as we remember, it used to be a table with organized in rows. Now each assertion is its own table. So you can have a quick look at what's going on, and without scrolling much, you can easily read the information. So we see our status code passed. We're still getting our data back, but our check is a bit slower than we actually want it to be. But it's still like we're getting our data back, so it's not a cause to jump out and head home. We can still finish our beer with our colleagues if we're out. No worries.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. As we saw, like we had some tabs before. This is organized in accordions now. You can open everything, see JSON as well as raw data, and click yourself through it.
Nice.
So that's the API check. Yeah. And I think one crucial part on making Checkly more mobile responsive has been our navigation. So as you probably know, we have like a user settings and a sidebar section that has been fused on mobile to create one menu. And you have still all our usual items that you can click to navigate. And yeah, let's also have a look at a browser check. So this is simulating a search flow. We're going on DuckDuckGo and searching whether cats are cuter than raccoons. We all know the answer.
Very important.
Very important. But this, of course, could also be a checkout flow, a login flow that you're monitoring. We have a timeline here and our page navigations with a little flow chart of items like DOM content loaded, first contentful pane, everything that you need to know. And on mobile, let's take a look. Again, it looks quite neat, I would say. We can scroll we can scroll our timeline. And then our page navigation looks like this. We have previously on desktop, it's this flow chart. Now we have bars. If you want a better view, I would suggest flipping your phone to give the bars a bit more space.
Responsive pro tip.
Yeah. I mean, we're working with the limitations here, but I think we did well. You have all your web vitals, all the usual stuff. And yeah, I hope this will bring lots of benefits to our users, and let us know what you think.
I honestly, Michelle, think so. I did front end, right? So usually kind of responsive web design is just squishing things and kind of putting things below each other and usually make things mobile friendly like this. But this really looks like you're juggling a lot of data there. I could assume that there were some kind of design considerations on the way to really make it work on mobile, or?
Definitely. As you saw, we're using a lot of horizontal space on our app, and we can't just put our page on a diet to shrink it down. We had to flip it to partially to a vertical design or find other solutions. And I think our designers have done a great job there. One of the biggest limitations of touch devices, I would say, which is your mobile phone, is that you can't play with hover elements, for example, or like anything that you would use your cursor for. For example, on the browser check results page, we have a lot of hints to give you more in-depth information about what we're actually displaying here. So previously that is a tooltip, but now we turned it into a model to show you all the nice data and make it accessible on mobile.
Yeah, I think this is so cool, right? So usually responsive web design includes writing some media queries and hiding and showing things. But with these kind of actions here, we really adjust or adapt or include a little bit of different functionality here, right? I think this is very, very cool. So what is next in terms of responsive web design?
Well, we can't tackle everything at once. As you saw right now, it's just the check results page. But of course, we want to expand this possibly to the dashboard or the events section. But please let us know which section we should tackle next, in the top comments, for example.
Or in Slack. Cool. Well, I think this is great. Thank you, Michelle. And well, we talk with each other tomorrow later on. Thank you so much for joining here. And I think this was a perfect introduction to our next topic. And let me just tell you a story, right? I joined Checkly roughly around, I don't know, 6 months ago. And it was like, well, sending an alert can't be so hard, right? But it turns out now that I'm kind of in the inside, well, there are actually a lot of things that can go wrong. And with me is now my second guest, which is Umut. And Umut will talk to us, with us, about all the new things that are available in the alert notification space. How is life, Umut?
Good, Stefan. How's life over there?
I'm doing my internet thing, just talking to people out there.
Surviving winter, I totally get it. Same over here.
Exactly. So do you want to tell me what is new in the world of alert notifications?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we've been working the last couple of weeks to address an issue that our customers were bringing up quite often. As Checkly, we always committed to transparency to our customers. I think one of the delightful parts of the monitoring section is that the more transparency you give to the customers, that they don't have to dig the info from your system or through your support, the easier that is to use the system. So we've been quite actually transparent about the incidents we have, the security incidents we have, and etc. We just take the responsibility and say, hey, yeah, that was our fault, sorry. One thing that was coming up as well was that customers having issues in terms of, hey, yeah, I see this alert, but I don't think I received this alert. Like, can you give me more information from your logs and etc.? And at some point we realized, yeah, okay, this is also a great point where we can actually just show this to the customer upfront rather than them reaching out to our support. Hey, I know you're busy. Right? Friday, I don't want to annoy you, but I don't think I received this log. Support has to contact our engineering or go to our logs. This was quite cumbersome. Yeah. So we've been working on presenting this customer in our UI right now, and I can finally say that it's out there. It's been live for a week already, so it's great to showcase this also in the live audience right now. Yeah, do you have any other questions, Stefan, before we jump into the demo?
Well, before we jump in, it might be that I have something prepared here, right? And we see here already that I have a browser check running.
Idea. What a surprise for me.
We have a browser check running here, and we see that there are some checks failing. And the first question, and I think this is probably a very interesting or good thing to know, when does Checkly send alerts?
Yeah, Michelle also answered that question briefly a couple of minutes ago. Checkly sends alerts based on state changes. So if you have a check that is in a successful state and it falls into a failure, and as a user you selected those states, you will get an alert. But for example, if your check is successful and then this next run is also successful, that's just a case that you don't get an alert, for example. So briefly saying, we just listen to state changes and then act upon it.
Which then also means, right, when I kind of receive an alert, hey, something is broken, I should really have a look at it, right? Because it will come on state change.
That's true. Or something recovered. We should not forget a recovered case. It's not always a bad thing.
Fair point. Fair point. Should we have a look and break some things?
Sure. Cool. Yeah, I said that you have a working check. Let's destroy that thing. You want to go to edit check?
Let's destroy it.
Let's destroy this thing. Yes, that's a beautiful unnecessary throw error there. Let's keep that going. Let's schedule a check.
So this is now a browser check starting, right, which will trigger an alert because we manually put in a exception in there. So what happened now?
Oh no, something bad happened, right? Like, so we can see that the check failed. This goes through our system that we detect the user's alert channels that they specify to this check, and then we send the alert to them. So this was a failure. This was a state change directly from successful to failure. So you can see also in your event timeline there that there was an exception. So if you, for example, go to your alerts, right, I think this was the previous one. You might need to refresh that page.
Oh.
Or is that the same one? Actually, I have no idea. Yeah, that's actually no. It's already updated. Oh, sorry. Need to check our UI a bit more often. So you can already see that.
We broke it, Umut. We broke it
That's
successfully.
true. That's true. We should have we just broke it now. Now always is a good dictator. So yeah, there you can directly see that there were 2 notifications sent and 1 failed, one of them. What that might be, right? So you already specified specific your alert channels. This might be Slack, Opsgenie, PagerDuty. And one of the most common scenarios is that people do make mistakes when they set these configs, right? You set something up, your colleague comes in and thinks, hey, yeah, there's an API key that's used by Slack, but I don't think we use that anywhere. Oops, something bad one, right? So here's a great example of that, right? On this new UI called Alert Notification Log, you can see all the alert channels that are invoked by our system and the notifications that are sent. I see that you have a lot of failures, Stefan. Maybe you should take a look at that. But in a demo sake, perfect for me. Yes, for example, you can directly see that in the show failures. So we try to give as many filters as we can to the users to make it easy to understand what the failure is coming from. If you look at the right side menu, right panel, you will see the ID, the type, the status. You can, if you hover on the row element on the left side, for example, you can directly jump to the check result as you can see, the wheel check results there. You can directly jump to the check results like, hey, I didn't get the Slack notification. What happened there for this check? And you can directly see this on this UI. If you could go back to the alert logs. On the right side, you can also see the alert config that was specified at that moment. So this is not the current one, but the config at that point in time where this alert channel was actually sent.
This is very cool.
Result, where in this case, for example, the server never responded. Might be something with the endpoint that we're trying to invoke. We do also show, for example, alert channels that have retries. You're currently on a, for example, in progress one. That means the alert channel is currently being retried. Probably there was a failure. We do retry webhooks, for example, after 5 times. All that information is on our documentation. And this alert notification will have a final state when all the 5 retries are actually executed.
What happens then? How do I know that my alerts are broken when my alerts are broken? What happens?
That's a chicken and egg problem, right? We I think found a great or like a best compromise, a great solution where we don't DOS our users. What we do right now is that if you have an alert channel that is acting flaky or just having any failure, we do send an email to all the owners and the admins of an account. We keep this emails in 10-minute intervals, so there's a grace period. So when there's the first failure happening, you will directly get an email, and the following failures from that same alert channel will be suppressed the next 10 minutes. We can send, of course, an email every second, but we thought this would be a bit too much. The worst thing is you come to your workstation in the morning, you see 1,000 emails, and then you need to go through each one of them. It's like, is it the same one? Is it the same one? So we thought we would do help our users a bit more there and just group them to 10-minute intervals.
I can tell you, as we set this up earlier, right? I received a lot of emails because I didn't want to fix my broken alerts. And actually, my inbox is so overflowing right now.
Yeah, ignoring is not the solution, Stefan. You should fix them.
I know. Cool. I think this is a super, super handy addition to be more transparent and show kind of all our users what's actually up. I think, is there anything else that you want to share? No, I think that was it. Huh?
Yeah, drop us a line, tell us, give us a bit more feedback about the feature. Like I said, transparency is a big commitment of Checkly. So if we can do this better, or if we can improve this feature, for example, better, if we missed the point, please tell us. Nothing better than a customer that tells us that, hey, if you do this can be actually a lot better.
This is a perfect hook, my friend, and I'm gonna say thank you, and I talk to you very soon, because now we're entering the stage to our community announcement. So first of all, you may or may not know, there's one thing that I just wanted to share with you, which is that Checkly is not only transparent when it comes to kind of alerts or alerts that didn't work, but we're also developing the product in public. So what you see here is our public roadmap, which is on GitHub, which I think is super, super, super cool. So if you want to give us product feedback, you can just go in there and go into the particular issue and kind of give us or tell us what you need, what you would expect from new features. Or maybe you just want to poke around and kind of see, hey, what is actually in the product pipeline right now? And you can see there this all in our public roadmap. But if you would like to talk to people in real time, I'm excited to tell you that, well, we just now open up our public Slack organization, which you can access at checklyhq.com/Slack. Umut is there, Michelle is there, I'm there. There are a bunch of people hanging out already. So if you have feedback or problems or questions, or you just want to talk with me about music or food or whatever you would feel like, come and say hi. We would love to interact with you and kind of have a lovely chat about maybe building good stuff and making sure that all the things that we build are actually online. And with this, we are rolling to the finish line. So let me just do a very, very quick recap. So first of all, we released mobile improvements, which means when you now receive an alert and you will access this browser check that failed or is succeeding again, as we learned, because it's always a state change, you can now access all the crucial information right from within your phone to then evaluate if you should get up or maybe leave the place where you're having a drink with your friends and family. So you can now access all this information right on your mobile phone. And I think this is a super, super nice thing to have. Then we talked about the alert notification log. So if you didn't receive an alert, you can now go right into Checkly and kind of have a look by yourself and debug why you didn't receive this alert. And I think it's always nice to do things yourself. And then lastly, we opened up our Slack community. So if you want to connect with me, with Umut, with Michelle, or you have questions or feedback, please jump in and let us know what you think. We are super excited to connect. And with this was day one of our very, very first launch week. Tomorrow, we will talk about two things that are close to our hearts, which is security and privacy. So I'm super excited to tell you that we are actually SOC 2 compliant. And if you want to know what this means, what this all is about, and why we're now leveled up a little bit and always keep our security, people, and processes up to date on the highest level, make sure to say hi tomorrow, same place, same time, and we see each other all tomorrow. And I think this is a wrap. I hope you had a good time here. I surely do, and I see you all tomorrow.